All right, what we want to move on to is Mayorkas. Secretary Mayorkas, correct? All right, so the hurricane. A lot of places in North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida impacted by this. A lot of them. And there's been a lot of talk about whether or not FEMA ran out of money, whether I'm hearing things about them saying that FEMA doesn't have any more money, but then I'm also hearing that FEMA, they took some of the FEMA funding and used it for migrants, different issues and it's all, there's a lot of nuances there, and people are playing a lot of word salad games in order to make whatever decision they're on or whatever side they're on to look more righteous or look like they did the right thing. And let's take a look at some of it. And we can determine for ourselves what we think is the best approach, who's lying to us, who's not, and how we feel about it. And maybe it'll impact who we end up voting for. Who knows? So let's take a look at this.
FEMA funding right after the devastation. Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas sounding the alarm on FEMA funding right after the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Listen.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This all comes as
unless this is one of those videos that people are going to claim is fake AI, or I don't know. I think we all have a clear understanding of what he just said. We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. That hurricane, I believe, is hitting tomorrow. I'm currently in Florida. It's supposed to hit Florida. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season. Let's keep going.
But does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This all comes as the Biden-Harris administration spent over $1 billion from a FEMA program on services for migrants. Attorney General, the great state.
So this is what I believe that people are having a lot of arguments over. So a lot of the Democrats that I hear are saying that, no, that was not for these particular crises. And this is my understanding of it. The Biden-Harris admin spent certain money from FEMA. Now, it may not have been designated to this exact particular cause, but it was taken from FEMA. And FEMA, let's be clear who FEMA is. What's the, hold on. So FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management, what is it, association? Hold on. Agency, Federal Emergency Management Association. So it was taken from FEMA. So you got some people on one side saying like, hey, it was taken from, they took the money and that's why they ran out. That's what the Republicans are saying. The Democrats are saying like, oh, they're not really acknowledging the fact that they did take the money, but they're saying that money there was no money that was supposed to go to this particular effort that we took. So I don't know the particulars, but when I hear that there was money from FEMA being spent, because let's just use common sense. Okay, it didn't come exactly from this pot of money, but it's still under that FEMA umbrella. So if you didn't take it directly from this pot that was designated for hurricane relief, but you still took it from the umbrella of FEMA, then let's say that you did not take the money from FEMA, then I would assume that when Mayorkas says that they do not have more money, they need more money to make it through the season, that you would be able to tap into that other pot of money in order to use for this, rather than to ask Congress or wherever else you're going to get the aid from. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. That's how I'm seeing it. I may be seeing it wrong, but that's my understanding so far.
Program on services for migrants. Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Ashley Moody, joins me now. AG Moody, why does the Biden-Harris administration always seem to help American taxpayers last?
Good morning, Todd. Yeah, everyone should be waking up this morning outraged by that comment. This is not something that has just happened recently, and Florida's been warning about this since this administration took over. Mayorkas has come in like a virus and infected these what need to be healthy, strong, fundamental programs to ensure the stability and safety of Americans in times of disaster. So you heard, they have taken the FEMA Emergency Food and Shelter Program and over time siphoned off hundreds of millions of dollars into basically making it an illegal immigrant resettlement program. And so when you see these states and cities around the nation declaring emergencies, even blue states, because of what this administration has done, encouraging more and more and more, developing programs to encourage more and more and more people to come here, the government, Biden and Harris, are having to fund that on the backs of the American people. And now, right now, when Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, all of these states are hurting because of this truly natural disaster, not a Biden-Harris-made disaster, they're saying we need more money. And of course they need more money because they've been laundering it from the true intended purpose of this fund that Congress set forth. Laws be damned.
There's two things going on here. We just touched upon the main thing, this horrific prioritization of migrants over American taxpayers. But there's also something else here. What does this say about the Biden-Harris administration's ability to just lead? If they underfunded FEMA this much, and we are not even close to being in the heart of hurricane season, which in reality is August, September, October, and November, A.G. Moody.
Look, this is what President Trump did so well while in office. He could get to a 30,000-foot level, look at the...
All right, well, this is some of the extremism. We are in the heart of it. If you just said it's August, September, October, November, we're in October. So unless you're saying the heart of it is towards the end, but neither here nor there. I'm just addressing that. But there's just exaggeration on both sides. And we don't need to exaggerate. We don't need to exaggerate because you know what happens when you exaggerate? I just stopped the video. And it probably would have made the same point if you didn't exaggerate it. But when I hear that, it's kind of just like, you know, like we are in the heart of it, but we don't have to exaggerate. Yeah, we should have enough to go through November. It's October, still have another month and 2/3 of a month to go through. Why is that funding not available? Explain it to somebody, explain it to us common folks that are not so in tune with FEMA and so in tune with how this all works. Just break it down for us. That's all we're asking. Because if you break it down for us, maybe there's a certain level of understanding to where now we're not pinning Americans against migrants. It's not more of that issue that we always hear about. And maybe everybody will have more of an understanding about it.
Health of American agencies and programs, determine what the problems were, and enlist resources. But
what I will say, another reason why, let's say somebody like me, why I look at it, you know, what Biden and Harris are doing with kind of funny eyes, and FEMA is because let's not act like this is the first situation. It just happened in Hawaii. It just happened with Hawaii. Now, I know my bro Urs, I know my sis Lana, the things that they've told me as far as the support that they've gotten, it's almost like you look at that support to Americans and then look at how long it maybe has taken them to even get that type of support or to have programs to where they can hopefully get support in the future. It's not comparable to how quick, let's say, a migrant may get support, whether you're coming in legally or illegally. It's not adding up, and it just puts a bad stain in people's mouth, and it makes you look at a certain situation where now they're creating a certain level of division between Americans and migrants. They're creating all this animosity towards migrants because they're looking at it like, damn, we're going through all this. We all see the amount of money, or we all hear people talking about the amount of money that migrants are getting, But then we just see certain situations in America that are underfunded to where Americans are not getting the support that they need, whether it's Hawaii or this recent hurricane. And it creates a certain level of animosity that, I mean, that's a pretty natural feeling. It's a pretty understandable feeling, I would imagine.
Talented individuals and a strategy to put Americans and the safety and strength of this nation first. I've seen it work here in Florida with Governor DeSantis. We decide where our problems are, we set forth to fix them, and we make sure not only money, but the strategy and talented personnel are in place to fix them. So, for example, when you have a disaster like this, and you know when there's no electricity, instability, when there's people needing just the basics of life because of a disaster. I was with officers the other night, and we surged our resources in vulnerable areas to looting. We made sure officers knew what to look for when it was in complete darkness. Right. They knew what to charge. We make sure our state attorneys know to hold these people so they don't get back out and start ravaging these communities again. It takes proactive efforts, and you just do not see this out of this administration. And here, and the roosters are coming home to roost. Look at what's happening right now.
The Florida model
when
really,
we're in the middle of a disaster with this administration at the helm.
You're right. The Florida model really does need to be a 50-state solution. Just want to mention this. You all launched an anti-looting team in response to Hurricane Helene, coming as 8 migrant workers are arrested in Tennessee, accused of stealing from flooded buildings. You guys do it right down there. I would just add, only a depraved person steals from someone in their time of need. All
right, so we're going to move on to the last video of Corinne Jean-Pierre. Interesting conversation between her and what's Peter's last name? Ducey? Ew, it's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.